Hello, welcome to my channel. Today we are talking about telling the truth. Why is it so scary to tell the truth? Oh my gosh, I love this topic. I actually thread this topic through all of my programs because I know how important it is. I know how important it is to tell the truth, but I know how challenging it can be to tell the truth, especially when you've been in relationships where communication wasn't always the highest of importance. So welcome to my channel. My name is Denise Kavaleskis, and I am a women's transformational love coach specializing in helping you heal from toxic relationships, narcissistic relationships, abusive relationships. And so this is a great topic to talk about because actually I got it in my Facebook group. I got this question in my Facebook group, and that's how I turn all of my videos, my YouTube videos, into the actual questions that my audience is asking when they get into the group. So it wasn't exactly worded this way, but the point is the same, right? Why are we so afraid to tell our truth? All right, so let me start with my own story because I share this all the time and it has such relevance to the topic. So by the way, if you're new to my channel and you like anything that I share with you, please like that, smash that like button, subscribe to my channel, and or comment. You can even comment below with topics that you would like me to do videos on, and I will copy and paste it and do a video just for you. Okay, so my own story. Let's go back to 1993. I had only been married not even 2 years, and I was pregnant with our firstborn. So if you don't know my story, I was married for 22 years in a very toxic, narcissistic relationship. I have 2 children with him. So here we go, 1993, not even 2 years, pregnant. And when you're pregnant, they test you for everything in the first trimester of your pregnancy. They test you for everything. They want to make sure that you don't have anything, blood going on, that the baby's going to be healthy. So they tested me and I came back positive for an STD. Okay. I know who I've slept with for the past X amount of time, however long we've been together. In fact, I was so young, anyway, that's besides the point. The point is that this was super embarrassing, super shameful, even to tell him because I was so young. It didn't come to my mind that he could have given it to me. That's how young and naive I was. So I was embarrassed to even tell him, but I had to, right? Because he had to take the antibiotics too. All right, so now let's fast forward to a year later. My children are a year and a day apart. So 1994, I get tested for, again, in the first trimester of everything that they test you for. And again, I come back positive for the same exact STD. That's weird, right? How did that happen? So again, I was embarrassed. I didn't tell anybody. I was very close with my sisters at the time and my mom, and I didn't tell them. I didn't tell my best friend. I did tell my best friend. That's the only person that I told because I was so embarrassed around it. Okay, so now I had written it down in my journal, but I did not utter this to anybody except for my best friend. Why? Because there was such shame, embarrassment, guilt, all of that. Denise, you're so stupid. Duh, he's cheating on you. Why are you still with him? And the last thing on my mind was to break up my new marriage with a newborn baby, 2 newborn babies. So I didn't tell anybody. I didn't talk about this for the longest time. Now, that was 94. The last one was 94. Now let's fast forward to, I think it was 7 or 9 years later. Let's fast forward years later. I go to the gynecologist because I have symptoms of what appears to be a bacterial infection. Ladies, you get this. I know you get this. Guys, if you're watching, I know you're probably like, yeah, this does not pertain to me. I promise you, stay to the end, it does. But ladies, you get it. You go to the gynecologist and you think you have something and then they tell you have something else. And again, now I'm older, now I'm in my 30s, and now I'm thinking, and plus, this was a different gynecologist than the first one. And now she says, if this comes back positive for this STD, there's a third party involved. She said it just like that. That means there's a third party involved. Well, I flipped. I was like, no, there's not. You don't know. Da, 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 da. She goes, okay. You know him better than I do. Okay. So he came back positive for the same exact STD as the other two, 7 or whatever, 9 years earlier. So now what does Denise do? Denise still keeps it a secret because she's still embarrassed. How am I going to tell somebody all these years later, I'm still coming up with this? Come on, people. It's obvious what's going on. So I share this with you because this is something that at one point in my life, I was super ashamed of, did not utter a word of this to anybody because of the emotions behind it. And now I can share it with you on freaking YouTube. I share it on stage. I share it in my book. I've shared it so many times. The truth of what happened, because because I've healed it. First of all, because I've healed it. So yes, there was a time when I couldn't say this because of all those emotions, including crying and being really super upset, right? How could he do that? How could he cheat on me? Why would he do that? I was pregnant with his baby. All of those emotions had come up. I healed that. So now I'm able to talk about this with no crying, no charge, no emotion. And that's what is possible for you too. Once you start to tell your truth, once you start to move away and heal the shame and the blame and the guilt and the embarrassment around the story, you'll be able to do this too. Here's the other thing about truth. For me, this story that I'm sharing with you was true in 1993, in 1994, and then whatever years later. It was true for me then, but it's not true for me now. Okay? Hopefully I can explain this to you in the way that I understand it. Think about the past. Think about something that happened to you in the past, where at the time you were super upset about it. You were crying and just really upset about what happened, or somebody said something to you. And now you can talk about that story and you're fine. Like maybe it's being picked on by somebody at the playground, or maybe a teacher or something that happened to you when you were little, and now you can, laugh about it, talk about it, because there's no truth to that story for you anymore. And that's why you can talk about it now. So when we talk about breakups, when we talk about abusive relationships, when we talk about being abused on any level, there's a lot of emotion attached to that. There's a lot of emotion. How could that person treat me like that? I was trying to be the best wife, the best girlfriend, the best husband, the best boyfriend, yada, yada, yada. And again and again and again, I got treated like this. All I was trying to do was make our relationship work, or whatever it was. And you just are so confused and you can't understand why somebody would treat you like that. So again, that was true for you then. And now, is that true for you anymore in the present time? So why are we so afraid to tell our truth? Because of those emotions that are behind it. But once you heal from that and those emotions that are in that story, you will no longer be afraid to tell your truth, because it can be scary. And it really depends on who you're talking to. I know for me, I didn't grow up in a household that had the best communication skills. Like what I saw and what I was taught was not the best communication skills. In fact, there was a lot of yelling and screaming. There was a lot of avoiding. There was a lot of ignoring. And what did I do? I got into a relationship where I carried those patterns in myself, of course, but also I found somebody that would reciprocate the same type of lack of communication skills. So when I was married, I was scared to even bring up any kind of a topic, right? Because my communication skills sucked. Let's just be real, they sucked. And I had a match. His communication skills sucked. And so when you don't know how to properly communicate, when you've never been taught how to communicate in a healthy way, then it's extremely difficult for you to tell your truth. But when you go through the process of healing from those stories and you learn how to communicate in a healthy way, all of this gets really easy. It gets really easy. Now I'm in a relationship. I'm married to somebody who is very open with communication. And so I feel very comfortable in being vulnerable to him and around him, right? Even when he says silly things. I'll give you an example. So every night before I go to bed, I read off 50 affirmations that pertain to me and what I'm working through. And so last night he heard me. He was in the living room, I'm in the bedroom, and I'm rattling off my affirmations, right? And I say them with the emotion. And so he comes in the room and he's like, in a joking way, he goes, "What kind of witchcraft were you babbling on about?" And so, so I don't take offense to that. I know he's being silly. I'm not embarrassed to be vulnerable around him. I laugh when he says silly things like that. So you want to have a relationship like that, where the communication is open and fun, and you are open and willing to be vulnerable around that person, and vice versa. And when they say something silly like that, you don't take offense to it. You don't get upset about it. You know he's just kidding or she's just kidding. That's the goal, right? In relationships. So how do you do that? You practice. First, you go into the healing of whatever attachment you have to a previous story in your life, something that happened to you. Car accident is coming up for me. I don't know who's listening, but there's something about a car accident that there was a lot of emotion and charge to. That just came up. So heal that first, and then through the healing, you will learn how to have open communication. You'll learn how to be vulnerable and be comfortable and know who to be vulnerable and comfortable in open communication around, because let's be real, there's some people that you cannot say things to. Even when you go through this process, there's some people that you cannot share your truth with, your vulnerability with, because you know that person, you know what you're going to get back from that person. So you know that it would be just a big waste of time for you to give your energy to that person, because you know what you're going to get back. But you learn all of this through the healing process. It's such an amazing, beautiful journey. And I invite you to do that. I invite you to heal the past, heal your heartbreak, heal the things that happened to you when you were a child that hurt you so much. And you watch your life just blossom into something that once upon a time was just a thought and a dream. All right, that is it for today. That is all I have for you on why we're so afraid to tell our truth. I hope that this video and information gave you value. If it did, please remember to smash that like button. Like, comment, subscribe. You help grow the channel when you do one or all of those three things, to reach more people like you and me who have been through these types of relationships and need this information to help them. All right, my loves, have an amazing day.